Okay, so that gets us down to the Citizens Appointment Committee recommendation. Do we have a staff report on that?
Yes, so this is a recommendation from the Citizen Appointment Committee to fill vacancies on 2 boards. The one is the Camarillo Ranch Foundation Board. In order to make sure that the board meets the minimum membership requirement of 12 as set forth in the bylaws, we do need to go ahead and appoint people to fill already unscheduled vacancies and then some regular vacancies that would occur in June. And these appointments as recommended, it says 4, there are 5 appointments because we had a resignation that we've added to the list. These appointments as recommended would bring the membership back up to its functioning 12, leaving 3 vacancies that once we get through the whole process of seeing what happens with the ranch board, hopefully we'll be transferring the appointments to the board, and that will leave them with 3 positions that they could go ahead and fill once the bylaws are amended. So we're filling the unexpired terms and then making appointments for 2 full terms, and there was an error in that too. The full terms are 3 years, so the expiration date is correct for June 2022.
So the full terms are for 3 years.
Yes.
Okay.
The second one is to fill the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging position. And that position's a little unique. The applications are actually forwarded to the Camarillo Council on Aging, and they interview the applicants and make a recommendation. So they have presented this recommendation to appoint John Gardner, and staff's recommendation would be to confirm the appointments as recommended. And then I would defer to the Citizen Appointment Committee if they have any additional input on the recommendations.
I'd just like to thank everybody that came in for an interview. A lot of people were on vacation, but we really appreciate the interest in wanting to serve the city. So there were a lot of interesting people, and I'm sorry we didn't get to meet everybody.
Any other questions? I do have a blue card for Barbara Williams. Let me make sure I have the microphone on Barbara. Yes. Yes, it is on.
Yes, the error in the agenda report about 4 positions with 5 names was very disconcerting. I am appalled that you 2, absent Charlotte and Susan, have the audacity to reappoint people to the Camarillo Ranch Foundation Board who has violated the trust of the citizens to manage an important historical monument. They have been mismanaging the ranch for a very long time, even lying to the city council about their financial stability, using the excuse they did not have records to clearly understand they were in the red. A concerned citizen used those same materials to uncover the fact they had been in the hole for a long time. They used the Camarillo Ranch as their private clubhouse with little respect for what it is. They had a retreat and left the kitchen a mess. The next day, they could not show tours of the kitchen because of that. At the last CRF board meeting, one of their members pointed out they have done nothing to improve their situation. It was also pointed out they do not have the expertise on the board to manage the ranch and wanted to be part of the selection of new board members. You appoint 3 people who have been part of this mismanagement of one of the symbols of our city. When you gave the CRF new operating procedures created without any public input, the CRF threw a fit and submitted the equivalent of their resignations because the city is taking away their power. This is not what the citizens and the Camarillo descendants deserve. You had enough applications to fill the open positions with non-board members. It appears you excluded a very talented young person who even has experience with the Camarillo White Horses, probably because she has the same last name as the person who publicizes the questionable actions of your decisions. Another outspoken candidate that supported term limits and does speak from his heart about the city he loves probably was excluded because, like me, he says things you don't like to hear. That's a shame when both were very qualified. I can personally vouch for the decision to appoint David Reel. He understands the history of Camarillo and Ventura County and has introduced many of us to past life here. He really cares for the ranch and will be a good steward, which the current board has not been. Absent Tony, Sean, and Kevin. If you vote for the list as is, you are voting for people who did not meet the mission statement. It is a cronyism that citizens do not want anymore. Don't cave in to the fit the CRF is throwing. Finally do what is right. Send back the list and insist they only recommend people who are not currently serving.
Thank you. I don't have any more blue cards. Would anybody else like to address on this subject? Okay. So are there any more questions on this?
Mr. Mayor, may I ask one question?
Yes, for
of
sure.
our council?
Yes.
It's sorry to put you on the spot, Brian. It's my understanding that according to the CRF bylaws, although the council has the discretion and the ability to appoint members, that also carries the discretion to, at any time, unappoint members for any reason seen fit?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. What's the will of the council? Oh, Susan, yes.
With all of the changes that may be happening with Camarillo Ranch, I believe, I shouldn't speak for Charlotte, I believe that part of my reappointing was to keep some consistency on the board with all of the changes. The changes that we're making, that were discussed at our last meeting and that we will be continuing to negotiate, are addressing the problems. And we felt that it was important to have some consistency on that board. And part of the negotiations is that they're going to be able to take over the appointment of their own board, which is why we left 3 positions open. So I'm sorry that there's some disappointment in our decision, but that's what we felt was best.
Any other comments?
No, I'll just add that in light of the comments of the member of the public, and on kind of piggyback off Susan's comments, but at this crucial juncture, stability right now, particularly as we go through this negotiation process, and we try to figure out what the future is for both the ranch house and the CRF, and the city for that matter, and what role each will play, if any. I think it's important that we maintain stability in that time period and this juncture. And that once we've come out and we've concluded as to the direction things are moving, then I think we can definitely look at taking other actions at that point. But at this point, it's important that we at the very minimum constitute, according to the bylaws, we maintain the number of board members required under the CRF bylaws. So that way, that organization can, as they negotiate with the city, can actually remain intact. And we'll be able to operate just moving forward. We have every intention of ensuring that the events that are booked, that are on the books, continue to happen. That is a promise that both sides have made. It's something that we're committed to, and we don't want to see any interruption to that. So as we continue through this process of negotiating with the CRF, then I'm just kind of reiterating I'm saying the same thing at this point, but I think stability is important, and I think this maintains stability in the short term. So,
All right. I'll just make a comment. It's work in progress, as we all know. It's important to have a board that we can negotiate with. I do know all the individuals here, that the recommendations are all very solid people. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I will move the suggested action of confirming appointments as recommended.
Second.
There's a motion. Is there any further discussion? Then please vote. That passes 3-0 with 2 absences.